The first thing we spoke about was petrol. And you can see the importers and exporters of petrols in Africa. Nigeria is a major importer of petrol in Africa, followed by Togo, then South Africa, then Morocco, then Egypt, then Kenya. The import of petroleum products in Africa is 57.6 billion. This is interesting. 57.6 billion. But it's good to know that Africa currently exports petroleum products and we are exporting as much as 16.9. As much as 16.9. As much as 16.9. The major exporter, Algeria. Algeria is a major producer, but Nigeria produces more than Algeria actually. But Algeria is exporting. Unfortunately, Nigeria is not exporting. Côte d'Ivoire, Togo. Even Togo is exporting petroleum products. Togo is exporting petroleum products, and Nigeria is doing so small, so small, so small. Cars. We spoke about cars also. The cars is another very important product in Africa that Africa buy a lot. 16.8 billion is what Africans spend to import cars. South Africa is the major market if you are looking to sell cars in Africa. South Africa is the major market, followed by Egypt, followed by Morocco. You will notice something that the major importer of cars in Africa are the top economy in Africa. Nigeria, Algeria, South Africa, Morocco, and Egypt. These are the top economy in Africa, and they are the major importer of cars. Nigeria imports a lot of cars, but Nigeria imports a lot of tokumbo, a lot of fairly used. So the cost is not as high as Egypt and South Africa, who are very few or smaller in size than Nigeria, but they buy a lot of new cars because the per capita income in those countries are a lot better than Nigeria. Who are the major exporters of cars in Africa? Wow. South Africa and Morocco. They are both doing about 99%. 99% of export of cars are done by South Africa and Morocco. Wheat. It's interesting to know that Nigeria is also a major importer of wheat. More importer of wheat. Egypt, Algeria, a major importer of wheat. Nigeria, also Morocco, another market. But so if you want to export wheat, these are the market to target. But who are your competitors if you want to export wheat? South Africa, Egypt, Kenya, Tanzania, Sudan are major exporters of wheat. We also talk about packaged drugs, packaged medicaments. Look at the amount we are used to buy wheat, 13 billion. And Nigeria is doing a lot of wheat imports, actually. 13 billion. And we are also exporting as much as 30.5. So it's a good news for me that Africa is exporting 13.5. Wow. Sorry. We are exporting 30.5 million, but we are importing 13 billion. So basically, we are importing just about 1% of what we are importing. We are exporting just about 1%. Packaged drug, can you see the drug? 11.5 billion. Mainly from India, some from China, and some from Europe. Mainly from India. Mainly from India. India is the pharmacy of the world. India is the pharmacy of the world. But look at the figure. $11.5 billion in import. So there's a lot of market in Africa for drug producers. I'm sure some of these drug producers will have to relocate into Africa so they can now compete. Then we have the exporter, very small, less than 1 billion. Can you imagine? 742 million. 742 million. 742 million. Not even up to 10%. So now Africa is heavily dependent on import for drug. Then petroleum gas, 5.7 billion in import. Wow. 28 billion in export. And in this one, Nigeria is not carrying last. Nigeria does not carry last in this one. Impressive, right? I think it's impressive. Only challenge is that those countries you are seeing, particularly Angola, Algeria, and Nigeria, a good chunk of their forest is being generated through export of oil and gas. Nigeria is 85% as of last year. By the end of this year, we'll be able to know what the data is saying. But as of last year, 85% of FS generated were from the oil and gas sector. The oil and gas sector. Another product with potential on the African continent is sugar. Why? Because Africa is importing $4.71 billion of sugar. $4.71 billion of sugar. So these are the market: Algeria, Sudan, Egypt, Nigeria, Morocco, Somalia, Djibouti, Benin, Ghana, Tunisia, Angola. Who are the competitors of exporter of sugar? South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Mauritius, Zambia, Algeria, Zimbabwe. Palm oil. Palm oil. And to think that Africa is importing $4.91 billion of palm oil. You will think we produce. Yes, we produce, but we are not producing enough. Yes, we produce, but we're not producing enough. And because we're not producing enough, we have to do a lot of importation. If you want to produce palm oil for export, Egypt, Kenya, Benin Republic, Djibouti, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda are all market for you. So small amount of oil is being produced or is being exported, largely done by Cote d'Ivoire, Kenya, even though Nigeria produce more, have more palm fruit. But because we probably have a lot of demand locally. Rice is another product you must consider for trade in Africa. Remember, what we are doing basically is showing forth the potential for trade in Africa under the AFCFTA. We've explored it. We are just summarizing. For those just joining us, we've discussed each of these one by one with an episode covering just about 5 or 6. But today we are doing summary. And I'm happy to announce that starting from next week, we are going to begin to do maximizing export potential under the AFCFTA, maximizing the African market potential under the AFCFTA. And we are going to be going from one country to the other. We'll probably be able to explore up to about 40 or 50 countries in Africa. And we'll be taking on one country every month, every week, one country every week, one country every week. So hopefully you'll be able to know when it is the turn of the country you are of interest to you. And we're basically exploring that country, checking the economy of the country, doing the economic snapshot of the country, looking at where the market is in that country, the demography, where the product will likely going to sell, their household consumption as a country, the population of the country, the per capita income of the country, the purchasing power of that country. Those are the things we are going to be looking at in the coming days, starting from next week. So looking at rice, you can see that Benin. Can you imagine? You and I know that this rice going to Benin. Benin is importing over $1 billion of rice, over $1 billion that Benin is importing. But those products are bound for Nigeria. They are bound to Nigeria. They are bound for Nigerian market. Who are the major exporters that will compete with you if you want to export rice? Senegal, Tanzania, South Africa, Uganda. Corn. Africa is importing corn. $3.4 billion market. The export of corn is so small. Nigeria also imports corn occasionally, even though we produce. By the way, corn is prohibited for export from Nigeria. Insulated wires. Remember my advocacy for contract manufacturing. I've advocated severally for contract manufacturing, and I say, you don't need to be the producer of the product. You can be a merchant. So someone will say, how do I export when I don't have a product? You can export without having a product. I do export almost every month. And I don't have a product. I don't have a factory. But I export granose cookies, peanuts itself, pap, yellow, red, and white, bean flour. I also export broom. I export broom. Broom, the regular broom, you know. So you don't need to be the manufacturer. And I'm glad to see that Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt are doing a lot in that space. So if you want to export insulated wire, you can partner with Coleman Wire and Cable, Nigeria Wire, and a number of wire producers in Nigeria, and export. And you become their distributors in those countries. But remember that you have a lot of competitors. Then gold. Africa import gold of 3.09 billion and export 51.6 billion. Ghana and South Africa are the major exporter of gold in Africa. Pesticide. Nigeria do a lot of import of pesticide. Nigeria is the second largest importer of pesticide in Africa, next to South Africa. 2.8 billion market. That's a lot also. 2.8 billion. And South Africa is also a major exporter of that product. Remember, a country can import and export the same item in different categories. Furniture. Nigerian produce furniture and export furniture only that is done mainly by foreigners. I'm very much aware that foreigners are in this country, and their mission basically is to come and produce for export. And guess what they are producing? Pineapple. Guess what they are producing? Furniture. And they are exporting well. Because they only see opportunity in Nigeria. We only see challenges, but they see opportunity. Because you don't see with your eyes, you see with your mind. You don't see with your eye, you see with your mind. And if the mind is not developed, the mind will not see. If that mind is not developed, that mind will not see. That mind will not see. That mind will not see. Furniture market is big in Africa. You might want to consider it. Very, very big in Africa. Over 6 billion. That's a lot. It's good that Africa is also about the opportunities available for poultry. There's a huge opportunity available for poultry. There's a huge opportunity available for poultry. Poultry meat. Poultry meat. Poultry meat. 2.1 billion is being imported for poultry meat. 2.1 billion. And South Africa is a major importer and exporter. So you have contest there to compete with South Africa as a major importer and major exporter of poultry products. You know, when you think of cocoa in export in Nigeria, you only hear cocoa, cashew, coffee, ginger, gum arabic. Many people don't know that the real money is being made, not from commodities. The people making the money in export are the people adding value. The West will come and educate Africans on how to export commodities and not how to export any product. So you can be the farmer of the world. So they can keep you small. AFCFTA has come to amend that. A lot of African countries already produce commodities. They need finished product. So the product with huge potential in Africa under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is mainly value-added products. Mainly value-added product. Mainly value-added product. Footwear, rubber footwear. Can you imagine? And for you to think that rubber footwear will be 2.46 billion in import. Rubber footwear, 2.46 billion in import. That for me is huge. Rubber footwear, can you imagine the quantum of rubber footwear Africa is importing? And and we are producing petroleum products, which is the raw material for this product, which we can produce here. And Africa is exporting so small amount of rubber footwear, $308 million. Who are the major market? Nigeria imports a lot of rubber footwear. A lot of rubber footwear. Over $200 million rubber footwear is imported by Nigeria. Over $200 million rubber footwear. Malt extract to be used by the brewing company for their product. Nigeria is already a major importer of that, with 1.9 billion being imported in Africa. Another market. But we have competitors in South Africa, Ghana, Senegal, and Egypt. Coal briquette. Coal briquette is charcoal, but made from sawdust and other organic matter. Coal briquette is 2.85 billion. If you go on third mainland and you look to your right, you are going from mainland to VI or going to Lagos Island, and you look to your right, when you are approaching, when you get to the middle after Unilag, on your right, you will see them burning sawdust from the various sawmill at Ebute Metta. And they are burning it. Why? They are burning it to be able to create space for more waste. Just the way we are flaring gas in the Niger Delta. But we can make coal briquette from those sawdust. And in Africa alone, the demand for coal briquette is 2.85 billion. But the raw material for coal briquette is being consumed, destroyed. If you are looking for market for that, Egypt, Morocco, and South Africa is the market. And South Africa is a major exporter. It's good to know that Africa is doing 8.36 billion in export of coal briquette. Cement. Cement. Remember what I said? You don't have to be, cement typically is a very capital intensive business. But remember, you don't have to be the producer, be a merchant, contract production. Or just sell. They already have a big brand, sell on their behalf. $1.71 billion in that market. Exporter of cement, Egypt, Senegal, Togo, Nigeria, Uganda, Tunisia. Scented mixture. This is used as fragrance in different items. And Africa is importing 1.92 billion for scented mixture, used in perfume, used as fragrance in different products, but the amount being spent in importing it, and Nigeria is a major importer of scented mixture. $1.92 billion. $1.92 billion. Who are the exporters? Egypt and South Africa are the owner of that market. Egypt and South Africa are the owner of that market. Scented mixture. Soya beans. Imagine 1.6 billion being used to import soya beans. Imagine $1.6 billion. Always remember, when I mention $1 billion, to put it in perspective, in today's Nigeria, it's over 400 billion naira. So you can understand the quantum amount of funds that is being used. The quantum amount of funds that is being used for those imports. Major market for you to sell soya beans in Africa, Tunisia, and Egypt. Nigeria currently exports it. Ethiopia, South Africa, but it's so small, less than $200 million. Less than $200 million. That's too small. Soya beans, nitrogenous fertilizer. Another product to consider, nitrogenous fertilizer. Another product to consider, but like I said, this kind of product requires a lot of resources. And because it requires a lot of resources, the wise thing to do if you don't have the resources is to be a contract, to be a distributor, or to produce, get it for yourself through contract production or contract manufacturing. Bovine is cow meat. Africa is importing cow meat, 1.01 billion. Africa is importing 1.01 billion of cow meat, but Africa is exporting just about 100 million of cow meat. Just in case you're interested in exporting cow meat, there you have it, the market for you. Where are the market? Egypt, Algeria, Angola, Morocco, Gabon. Looks to me like a lot of North African countries are on the list of major importer of meat. A lot of North African countries. A lot of North African countries. A lot of North African countries. All right. Legumes, beans. Africa is importing $1.04 billion of beans of different types. Egypt, Kenya, and Algeria are major importer. The market where you can consider. And we're not doing a lot in export. Egypt, Ethiopia, Uganda is the market, are the competitors. Plastic lid is another one you want to consider, $1.99 billion. $1.99 billion. And the importers are in Morocco, South Africa, Algeria, Angola, Nigeria. Africa is not doing so badly. $500 million is being used. $500 million is being used. It's being realized from the export of this item from South Africa, Kenya, Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire, who are the competing countries you have to consider if you want to export it. Then toilet paper. You know, just imagine that toilet paper is 1.1 billion. Is that not amazing? Is that not interesting? Toilet paper is 1.1 billion. That is too much. Remember, you can be an exporter of toilet paper. You know what to do already. If you want to export toilet paper, you know what to do already. Partner with those producing so you can export. Then we have tea. Another very lovely product for export, tea. And I'm glad to see the quantum of tea products, $1.19 billion. Import of tea product in Africa. What? That is a lot. That is a lot. $1.19 billion in tea. So we have a lot of market for hibiscus tea, moringa tea, herbal tea, all those herbal tea, and the green tea itself. Huge market in Africa, in my opinion, huge market in Africa. Very, very huge market in Africa. Very, very huge market in Africa. Both on the import and export. And to think that Kenya, just imagine Kenya owned that market. 77% of the tea export from Africa is from Kenya. But Kenya, I think, mainly export green tea. Rolled tobacco. $1.63 billion in import and $406 million in export. Nigeria is a major exporter of tobacco. I think BAT is the one doing that. Soap. I'll be a bit fast because of time. Soap. Nigeria is a major importer of soap. $893 million is used to import soap, and $398 million is used to export, is realized from export of soap by Africans. By Africans, export of soap by Africans. Interesting. So if you're thinking of soap, that's a market for you. Wheat flour. $753 million. Market, Angola, Eritrea, DRC Congo, Somalia, Benin, Madagascar. Nigeria, Africa also is a major exporter, $402 million. Ghana, Egypt, Tanzania, and the like. Then we have beauty products, $1.01 billion in beauty products. Those producing cream, here is a market for you. Those producing cream, here is a market for you. If you are into production of cream, that is market for you right there, right there, right there. That's a market for you right there. If you are into production of cream, half of $1 billion is export that South Africa and Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, and Tanzania are doing. Those are the major people exporting. Africa can also be a major exporter. Nigeria can also be a major exporter of products of this type. The market for beauty products in Africa is heavy. T-shirt, singlet, and vest, 450 million. This is a product from our brothers in Aba. Aba market, SME Hub is doing a lot with garments and with shoes, footwear. So this is a very good market for the people from that side of the country who are doing a lot and amazing work on footwear. So you might want to partner with them to place order from them and supply this market, since you have a lot of people already producing there in clusters. The market is not bad, 450 million, but be ready to compete with Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, and Mauritius. Then we have women's suit. Women's suit is $1.3 billion in import and 2.59 billion. So Africa is actually doing more of export of women's suit than import. And Nigeria is a major importer of women's suit. Morocco and Tunisia are major exporter of women's suit. Pasta, $702 million market. $702 million market. Angola, Benin, Somalia, Ghana, Togo are the major importer. Nigeria is exporting pasta, 14.6% of the $244 million. But Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire, and Morocco are also competitors. Baked goods. Baked goods will be things like biscuits, cookies. And Africa is importing $792 million in that product. South Africa, Rwanda, Morocco are your markets. Angola are your market. But if you want to export, go to Egypt. I mean, you are going to compete with Egypt, South Africa, and Tanzania. And the total export value is about $297 million. There's a very good market also for leather footwear. You know, we have seen rubber footwear, right? Now we have seen leather footwear, which is also produced in Aba, $607 million. You can partner with people in Aba to supply this to South Africa, Morocco, Egypt, Angola, and then you can compete. Nigeria is not doing badly in Africa is not doing badly in export. Tunisia, Morocco are doing so well. And the market size, $678 million in export. Cheese. Cheese. You know, there's some product you see, just ask yourself, what are we doing? Why are we not taking advantage of this? Cheese. See, cheese. All right, cheese is another product of interest. The market is $635 million. Cheese. Egypt, Morocco, Algeria are the competitors. Then Egypt also is a major. Egypt, Morocco, and South Africa are the competitors, but the market are Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, and Libya. Bovine. Seasoning and sauce. Seasoning and sauce, another product with export market potential in Africa. Seasoning and sauce. Flavor water. Can you imagine? Water, flavor water. Nigeria is even part of the people importing flavor water. You might want to consider that also. The market is not bad, $662 million. Processed fish, yes, 1.1 billion, 1.1 billion. Processed fish, smoked fish. Egypt, Libya, South Africa, Ghana is a market to consider for processed fish. But you have to compete with Morocco, Mauritius, Seychelles, and Ghana. Chocolate, $599 million market. Exporters also include Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, South Africa, Ghana, out of the major producer of cocoa in Africa, Nigeria is the one I can't find on this list. I can find Ghana, I can find Senegal, I can find Cote d'Ivoire in West Africa. I can't find Nigeria. Nigeria is even a major importer of chocolate. Margarine, $419 million. Algeria, Ghana, and Angola are the market to consider. Hair product, $428 million. Fruit juice, $490 million. These are products with potential in Nigeria. $490 million. Glass bottles, $443 million. Glass bottles, $443 million. $443 million. Can exporter now withdraw export revenue in Forex with the new CBN rule? No, the new CBN rule is for when your brother and your sister send you money from abroad, not for export proceeds. When your brother and your sister send you money from abroad, not from export proceeds. So you can't sell your dollar you can't have access to your dollar if you are exporting in Nigeria. You can't have access to your dollar if you are exporting from Nigeria. You will only have access to you can sell it or you can use it to do other things, but you cannot have access to it, so you can't sell it at the parallel market. See another one, glass bottles. Market size, $443 million. Butter, market size, $453 million. Edible offers. You know what edible offer is? You see, when you go to a restaurant and you ask for runabout, you see those runabout? Those internal organs, internal viscerals of cow are called edible offers. And it's $380 million. So a lot of people are eating runabout in Africa, particularly Egyptians. Egyptians, South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, and Angola, and Ghana eat a lot of runabout. And Africa is not doing well in the export. South Africa and Uganda are doing a lot. Malt, potato, $338 million. Raw cotton, $380 million. Onions, $328 million. Soup, $338 million. Soup. I've seen banga soup before. Can. That is what we're talking about. All those our soup, Edikaikon, Afan, Oha, or all those fantastic soup from the East. Can we begin to can them, Can we can them, Can we begin to can them for export? Antibiotics, $373 million. Goat meat, sheep and goat meat, $78 million. Market size of pig meat, $244 million. Can you imagine pig meat? Pig meat, $244 million. These are products with export potential in Africa because Africans currently import this product from different parts of the world. And I'm saying these are products with potential under the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. Pig meat, dental product, $319 million market for you. Dental product. Mattress, $264 million. You can partner with all those fantastic manufacturer of mattress in Nigeria, and you can distribute this product on the African continent. Remember, you don't need to be a manufacturer of the product. You can be a distributor of the product in different countries on the African continent. And we're going to be examining all the countries, as many as I can find, get information about on the African continent. I'll be examining them starting from next week, as we examine the maximizing the potential of different export markets in Africa. And we're going to spend the rest of this year and a good chunk of next year, probably till August next year, discussing different countries. We're going to come around every week. I'm going to spend about 30 minutes to 1 hour focusing on just one country, looking at the market in that country, looking at their population, looking at the per capita income in the country, looking at different things that will make you take an informed decision. And we are going to look at what does that country import. We're going to look at the country and look at all the items they import and the quantum they import. So we're going to be extracting different countries. It's going to be an exciting one. I've been doing the research, and I must confess, it's been an interesting one for me, a very fantastic learning point for me. I've done something similar some time ago on Facebook, but this time around, we're going to be going a lot deeper than what I did on Facebook the other time. And it's going to be an interesting one. You can't afford to miss it. You're going to see a lot. You know, some countries in Africa, these are the things that make you appreciate Nigeria the most. Some countries in Africa are so small, eh? Some of them are less than $1 million. They are not up to Agege. Or up to, what's the name of this major voting area in Lagos? Alimosho local government. You know, I believe it's going to be an interesting one. But for me, I think that for us at 3thinkPest, we want to educate Nigerians to be able to take advantage of AFCFTA, because sincerely, this thing is on us already. It has adverse effect, but the positive side is a lot more. But we only enjoy that positive side if we are prepared. And I'm not sure if many businesses are prepared. I'm not sure. Coconut oil, $143 million. $143 million. Coconut oil. $143 million market in Africa. The market size for wheat flour, $753 million in Africa. The market size for sorghum, $141 million in Africa. The market size for granite, $170 million in Africa. The market size for ceramic product, $3.62 billion in Africa. $3.62 billion. This is where tiles fall, tiles and bricks. Egg, $161 million. Egg. Vegetable, $40 million. Dry vegetable, $40 million. Milk product, $96 million. Frozen vegetable, $83 million. These are the size of this market. Wood products, $4.39 billion. Wow. Wood product, $4.39 billion. Water, water, $52.4 million. $52.4 million. So we've come to the end of this series, exploring the potential of African market. It's been an interesting journey for me also. You know, as I come up with this topic, I also have to do research on them. Some of them have actually not gone through them before. Some of them have examined them before, but AFCFTA is making us to dig deeper into Africa and see where those potential lies so that we can all become beneficiaries. So Nigeria can be better for it, actually. So we can also contribute our own quota to the Sustainable Development Goal, because I believe strongly that if trade grows in Africa, if trade grows in Nigeria, we can reduce hunger, we can reduce poverty, and we can reduce inequality, which are the goal 1, 2, and 9 of the Sustainable Development Goal.